Good afternoon, learners. My name is Atrey Sinha. I am Academic Officer English, National Institute of Open Schooling. Today we will read a letter. The name is a birthday letter of today's lesson, which is included in our secondary course English 202 as lesson number 8. So, in this lesson, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, wrote a letter to his daughter Indira, who is popularly known as Indira Gandhi, on her 13th birthday. At that time, Jawaharlal Nehru was imprisoned in Naini prison, and the letter is dated in the year 1930, and India was not free at the time. Many of leaders were imprisoned by the British, so that was the scenario of India when this letter was written by a father to her daughter. And let's find out what he wrote to her. Before starting the lesson, we will quickly go through the learning outcomes that are expected to be from the learners. First of all, after completing this lesson, we will recognize the value of a letter as a powerful means of communication. Then we will be able to analyze the contributions of our leaders, and we will also able to infer the qualities exhibited by these leaders, and we will also negotiate a difficult situation and communicate effectively. Then we will also identify and write imperative sentences after completing this lesson, and we will also be able to construct WH questions, and we will also write an informal letter. So let's start the lesson. First, as I have told that this is a letter from Nehru to his daughter Indira Gandhi, so it is a letter, and letter in a proper form, and the title itself also suggests that it is a letter, a birthday letter. So you can see that the opening of this lesson is also following the format of a personal or informal letter. So at the right top, it is written that Central Prison, Naini, followed by the date, that is October 26, 1930. So the place and date is at the right top of the letter. Now at the left top, we have my dear Indira. So the salutation, the receiver of the letter, who is that person? That person is Indira, the daughter of the writer Jawaharlal Nehru. So he is saluting Indira as my dear Indira. So that's the format of letter. We will also discuss the afterwards what is the other parts of the letter. Everything is there, you can find them well. So the letter goes like that. On your birthday, you have been in the habit of receiving presents and good wishes. So Jawaharlal Nehru is starting the lesson as, on your birthday, you have been in the habit of receiving presents and good wishes. See, you may find out that this is a format of a letter, and at the top of the right that there is place and date, and the sender the receiver are mentioned, and the place is Central Prison Naini, as we have already discussed, and then under it October 26, 1930. So the sender is writing the letter from Naini Central Prison on 26th October in 1930. In the left, there is my dear Indira. So the letter is written for Indira, who is very dear, who is very close to the sender, Jawaharlal Nehru. And that is why he has started the letter with my dear. Then comes the body of the letter. On your birthday, you have been in the habit of receiving presents and good wishes. So Nehru is saying that on Indira's birthday, it's very common for people to give her presents and send her good wishes. And this means that Indira often get gifts and messages from family and friends who want to celebrate her special day and make her feel happy. So that's the opening of the letter. Then the letter goes on like that. Good wishes you will still have in full measure. But what present can I send you from Naini prison? My presents cannot be very material or solid. They can be of the mind and spirit. Things that even the high walls of prison cannot stop. So, Jawaharlal Nehru is writing that good wishes you will still have in full measure, but what present can I send you from Naini prison? Through this line, Nehru acknowledges that he can still send his best wishes to Indira abundantly. However, being imprisoned in Naini prison limits his ability to send a tangible physical gift, and the speaker is reflecting on the constraints imposed by his incarnation. And my presents cannot be very material or solid. Nehru is writing that my presents cannot be very material or solid. Here Nehru continues to emphasize that due to his imprisonment, he cannot send physical or material gifts. His situation restricts him to non-tangible offerings, but they can be of the mind and spirit, things that even the high walls of prison cannot stop. So he suggests that the gifts he can offer to Indira are of a different nature, intellectual or spiritual, and these are gifts of thoughts, ideas and emotional or spiritual support, which are not hindered by physical barriers. So unlike material items, these intangible gifts like intellectual or spiritual ideas or thoughts and supports, these intangible gifts can transcend the confines of the prison walls. Next, you know, sweetheart, how I dislike sermonizing and doling out good advice. I have always thought that the best way to find out what is right and what is not right, what should be done and what should not be done, is not by giving a sermon. So, Nehru is saying that, you know, sweetheart, how I dislike sermonizing and doling out good wish advice. In this line, Nehru addresses Indira, her daughter, very affectionately as sweetheart. The speaker expresses his aversion to giving sermons or lectures and providing unsolicited advice. The tone suggests a desire for a more engaging and respectful way of communication rather than preaching. And the use of the term she uses is a warm and a personal tone. I have always thought that the best way to find out what is right and what is not right, what should be done and what shouldn't be done, is not by giving a sermon. So Nehru elaborates on his belief that determining what is right or wrong or deciding on the correct course of action is not best achieved through preaching or delivering moral lessons. Instead, the implication is that there are more effective and meaningful ways to understand and learn these concepts. And what are they? Nehru writes, but by talking and discussing. And out of discussion, sometimes a little bit of truth comes out. I have liked my talks with you and we have discussed many things, but the world is wide and beyond our world lie other wonderful and mysterious worlds. So, Nehru suggests that engaging in conversation and discussion is a more effective way to discover truth and understand what is right and what is wrong. And through dialogue, people can exchange ideas, challenge each other's viewpoints, and refine their understanding. And the process of discussion allows for a collaborative exploration of ideas, which can lead to the emergence of truth. And this method further promotes active engagement, critical thinking, and the sharing of diverse perspectives. The phrase "a little bit of truth comes out" acknowledges that truth is often not absolute or easily attainable, but can be uncovered gradually through thoughtful dialogue. So Nehru believes that talking and discussing issues is a productive way to arrive at the truth. And this method promotes active engagement, critical thinking, and the sharing of diverse perspectives. I have liked my talks with you, and we have discussed many things, but the world is wide, and beyond our world lie other wonderful and mysterious worlds. So here Nehru reflects fondly on past conversation with Indira and indicating that those discussions had been enjoyable and meaningful, at least to Nehru. And this sentiment strengthens the bond between a father and a daughter, Nehru and Indira, highlighting the importance of their relationship and shared intellectual journey. Nehru acknowledges that they have covered a wide range of topics, yet he acknowledges that the scope of their discussion is still limited compared to the vastness of the world. And the phrase, the world is wide, signifies the immense diversity and complexity of the world around them. And the mention of other wonderful and mysterious worlds suggests that there are many more areas of knowledge, experiences, and perspectives to explore beyond what they have already discussed. And implicit in this reflection is an encouragement to continue exploring the learning. And Nehru suggests that their past discussion are just the beginning and that there is much more to discover. Then Nehru writes, none of us need ever be bored or imagine that we have learned everything worth learning and become very wise. So Nehru is suggesting that he is asserting that boredom and the belief that one has learned all there is to know are both unfounded. He argues that because the world is so vast and full of endless knowledge and experiences, there is always something new to learn. And this perspective is a call to embrace lifelong learning and maintain intellectual humility. The phrase, none of us need ever be bored, suggests that there is an abundance of things to discover and engage within the world. Boredom often stems from a lack of stimulation or interest, but Nehru argues that this shouldn't be an issue given the limitless opportunities for learning and exploration. He further addresses the misconception that one might reach a point where they have learned everything worth knowing. And the phrase, imagine that we have learned everything worth learning and become very wise, reflects an attitude of complacency and intellectual arrogance, which Nehru never possessed, and he wants Indira to be never possessed, right? By emphasizing that no one ever reaches complete wisdom or exhaustive knowledge, Nehru promotes intellectual humility. He suggests that true wisdom comes from recognizing the limits of one's knowledge and remaining open to continuous learning. And the underlying message is one of lifelong learning. So Nehru encourages an attitude of curiosity and perpetual learning, and regardless of one's age or stage in life. And this perspective of Nehru fosters a mindset that values an ongoing education, exploration, and self-improvement. It implies that learning is not confined to formal education, but it is a continuous process that enriches our lives and keeps us engaged with the world through dialogue and confrontation. Next, but what am I to do then? A letter can hardly take the place of a talk. At best, it is a one-sided affair. Imagine that I have made a suggestion to you for you to think over as if we really were having a talk. So here Nehru expresses a sense of limitation and frustration about communicating through a letter. But what am I to do then? A letter can hardly take the place of a talk. At best, it is a one-sided affair. So, Nehru acknowledges that a letter cannot fully replace the richness and immediacy of a face-to-face conversation. In a letter, the interaction is inherently one-sided because the writer presents his or her own thoughts without the immediate feedback and a dynamic exchange that occurs in a verbal dialogue. In direct conversation, participants can immediately respond, clarify and expand on ideas, making the interaction dynamic and reciprocal. By saying, imagine that I have made a suggestion to you for you to think over, Nehru encourages Indira to reflect on the ideas presented in the letter, as if she is hearing these suggestions in a real-time conversation. And this imaginative exercise helps her feel more connected to her father and engaged with the content. And in this section, Pandit Nehru, who is imprisoned in Naini jail by the Britishers, sends a letter as a gift to his daughter Indira on her birthday. So, we will in the next parts we will read to find out what he writes in the letter actually. So, this is a part of introduction till now. We will see what is the main purpose of writing this letter. In history, we read of great periods in the life of nations, of great men and women. Do you remember how fascinating you were when you first read the story of Jeanne d'Arc and how your ambition was to be something like her? So now Nehru is saying that refers to the study of history where significant periods and influential figures are highlighted. So he is saying that in history we read of great periods in the life of nations, of great men and women, and these periods often include events that shaped nations and individuals who made substantial contributions to society. Nehru is drawing attention to the inspirational nature of historical narratives and the impactful lives of the prominent figures. Do you remember how fascinated you were? So, the mentions of the great periods in the life of nations and great men and women emphasizes the power of history to inspire and teach valuable lessons. And historical figures and events often serve as sources of motivation and aspiration for individuals. Nehru suggests that studying history can be a source of fascination and inspiration, providing role models and ideals to strive for. Do you remember how fascinated you were when you first read the story of Jeanne d'Arc and how your ambition was to be something like her? So Nehru recalls a specific moment when Indira was deeply inspired by reading about Jeanne d'Arc, who is popularly known as Joan of Arc. So Jeanne d'Arc is a historical figure known for her courage and leadership during the 100 Years' War. Nehru highlights Indira's admiration for Jeanne d'Arc and her aspiration to emulate her qualities and achievements. And Nehru's reference to this memory serves as a form of encouragement. And by reminding his daughter of her past inspiration and ambition, the father is urging her to reconnect with those feelings and continue striving for greatness. And this reflection on Indira's admiration for Jeanne d'Arc can reignite her passion and motivation, and reminding them of the powerful impact that historical role models can have on personal development. Then Nehru writes, ordinary men and women are not usually heroic. They think of their bread and butter, of their children and of their household worries and the like. But a time comes when a whole people become interested in a great cause. So, here Nehru writes, ordinary men and women are not usually heroic. Nehru begins this paragraph by acknowledging that most people do not exhibit heroism in their daily lives, and the term ordinary men and women refers to the general populace, common people, who typically lead everyday lives without performing extraordinary or heroic acts. They think of their bread and butter, of their children, of their household worries and the like. So, Nehru describes the typical concerns of ordinary people. Bread and butter symbolizes the basic necessities and livelihood that people work to secure. And the mention of their children highlights family responsibilities, and household worries encompasses the various mundane concerns that occupy people's daily lives. And this line emphasizes the practical and immediate priorities that dominate the thoughts and actions of most individuals. And the phrase bread and butter is a metaphor for basic necessities and individual. It signifies the daily struggle to provide for oneself and one's family. Mentioning their children points to the familial obligations and the care and upbringing of the next generation, and which are central to the lives of many people. Household worries captures the everyday challenges and stresses that come with managing a household, further emphasizing the practical and immediate nature of most people's concerns. Then, but a time comes when a whole people become interested in a great cause. So, he introduces a contrasting scenario where ordinary people transcend their usual concerns. A significant moment or event can unite and mobilize an entire population around a great cause. And this cause is typically something of profound importance that inspires collective action and dedication, prompting people to act beyond their immediate everyday concerns. Next, then history helps even simple ordinary men and women to become heroes. Great leaders have something in them which inspires a whole people and makes them do great deeds. Then history helps even simple ordinary men and women to become heroes. So, Nehru suggests that history has the power to elevate ordinary individuals into heroes. Through significant events and movements, ordinary people can find themselves in situations where they rise to the occasion and perform heroic acts. History, with its grand narratives and pivotal moments, provides the context and opportunities for such transformations. We will read out and explain all those parts which are left here, but before that, let's take a short break.
प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी भागे।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम,
Welcome back, learners. We were reading a birthday letter by Jawaharlal Nehru. We were reading a portion where Nehru is suggesting various thoughts and ideas to his dearest daughter Indira, and now he is referring to various historical events to inspire Indira to be one like them. Then history helps even simple ordinary men and women to become heroes. So Nehru suggests that history has the power to elevate ordinary individuals into heroes, and through significant events and movements, ordinary people can find themselves in situations where they rise to the occasion and perform heroic acts. History, with its grand narratives and pivotal moments, provides the context and opportunities for such transformation. Great leaders have something in them which inspires a whole people and makes them do great deeds. Nehru attributes a crucial role to great leaders who possess certain qualities that can inspire and mobilize entire population. And these leaders have a unique ability to galvanize people, instilling in them the courage and motivation to undertake extraordinary actions and achieve remarkable feats. History is portrayed as a catalyst that can turn ordinary people into heroes. Significant historical events often create circumstances where individuals are called upon to act beyond their usual capacities. The phrase helps even simple ordinary men and women underscores the idea that heroism is not limited to a select few. Rather, it is accessible to everyone when the right moment arises. Great leaders are described as having inherent qualities that enable them to inspire others. And these qualities might include vision, charisma, courage, and the ability to communicate a compelling cause. And by saying something in them, Nehru suggests that this inspirational quality is an intrinsic part of great leaders' character and setting them apart from others. The phrase makes them do great deeds indicate that the inspiration provided by leaders can lead to tangible, significant actions, and these deeds are considered great because they go beyond ordinary efforts and achieve something noteworthy and impactful. Great leaders inspire a whole people, meaning they have the ability to connect with and mobilize large groups of individuals, and this collective inspiration is crucial for large scale movements and actions. Next, in India, a great leader full of love for all who suffered and eager to help them has inspired our people to great actions and noble sacrifice. He has helped to make the starving, the poor, and the oppressed free and happy. So here Nehru is describing the qualities of a great leader or a significant leader in India. In India, a great leader full of love for all who suffer and eager to help them. A leader who has the characteristics of compassion and dedication to those who are suffering. The leader's primary motivation is to alleviate the hardships of the oppressed and needy, and their love and eagerness to help the suffering are central to their identity and mission. Has inspired our people to great actions and noble sacrifice. So this leader has managed to inspire the people of India to undertake significant and commendable actions. And the phrase great actions suggests large scale, impactful deeds carried out by the people, while noble sacrifice indicates that individuals have been willing to endure personal hardships or give up something valuable for the great good. The leader's influence has led to a collective effort towards a higher cause. He has helped to make the starving, the poor, and the oppressed free and happy. So the ultimate impact of this leader's work is profound. Through their hardship and the inspired actions of the people, he has contributed to the liberation and happiness of the most disadvantaged segment of society. The starving, the poor, and the oppressed are specifically mentioned, and highlighting the focus on those who are most vulnerable. The term free and happy suggests that these individuals have achieved a sense of liberation from their struggles and have found contempt as a result of the collective efforts. And the final part of this passage describes the tangible outcomes of the leader's influence. By mobilizing the people, the leader has contributed to alleviating the suffering of the most marginalized groups, the starving, the poor, and the oppressed. Next, Bapuji is in prison, but the magic of his message has stolen the hearts of India's millions. Men and women and even little children come out of their little shells and become India's soldiers of freedom. So now Nehru is disclosing the name of that great leader about whom he is till now describing, whose grandeur is now describing he is in this letter, and that person, who is that person? That person is Bapuji. Bapuji is in prison, but the magic of his message has stolen the hearts of India's millionaires. So the passage begins by noting that Bapuji, a term endearment for Mahatma Gandhi, is imprisoned. So despite his physical confinement, his message, Bapuji's message, Gandhiji's message, continues to resonate powerfully with the people of India. The magic of his message suggests that his ideas and principles have a profound and enchanting effect on the populace. And this message has captured the hearts of India's millions, indicating the widespread and deep emotional and intellectual connection to Gandhiji's teaching and vision. Men and women and even little children come out of their little shells and become India's soldiers of freedom. So this part of the passage describes the transformative impact of Gandhiji's message on people of all ages and genders. The phrase "come out of their little shells" signifies individuals stepping out of their comfort zones, overcoming personal fears or reservations. By doing so, they actively participate in the struggle for India's independence. And the term India's soldiers of freedom metaphorically describes these individuals as fighters of the cause of liberation, even though they might not be literal soldiers. This underscores the idea that everyone, regardless of their age or gender, can contribute to the freedom movement. Gandhiji's message not only motivates people to participate but also transforms them, encouraging a sense of empowerment and responsibility towards the nation's freedom. The involvement of even little children signifies that the movement has permeated all layers of society, fostering a sense of unity and collective efforts across generation. Next, in India, today we are making history, and you and I are fortunate to see this happening before our eyes and to take some part ourselves in this great drama. What part shall we play in it? So, in India today we are making history. So Nehru asserts that the current events in India are historically significant. Making history suggests that the actions and events unfolding are not only important in the present but will be remembered and recorded as pivotal moments in the nation's history. And you and I are fortunate to see this happening before our eyes and to take some part ourselves in this great drama. Nehru expresses a sense of gratitude and privilege for being present during this significant time. He acknowledges the unique opportunity to witness these historical events firsthand and to be actively involved in the unfolding story. The term great drama metaphorically describes the historical events as a grand and significant narrative in which they can play a role. What part shall we play in it? So Nehru poses a reflective and rhetorical question, prompting both themselves and the listeners to consider their roles in the historical events. It encourages introspection about how he can contribute to the ongoing narrative and what actions they can take to make a meaningful impact. The concluding question serves as a call to action and a prompt for self-reflection. It encourages Indira to think about her potential contributions and responsibilities during this historical period. And in this section, Pandit Nehru writes to his daughter to tell her how Bapuji motivated the common people to become a part of the struggle for freedom. And he speaks about how common people and also become heroes when they fight for a cause. Now we will move on to the third part of this letter. If we are to be India's soldiers, we have to respect India's honor, and that honor is sacred trust. It is no easy matter to decide what is right and what is not. One little test I shall ask you to apply whenever you are in doubt. So, here Nehru begins by setting a condition for those who wish to be India's soldiers. If we are able to be India's soldiers, we have to respect India's honor, and that honor is a sacred trust. Here, being soldiers metaphorically refers to individuals committed to the cause of India's independence and well-being. He emphasizes that these individuals must uphold India's honor. Describing this honor as a sacred trust suggests that it is a deeply significant and inviolable responsibility entrusted to them to protect and maintain. By referring to individuals as India's soldiers, Nehru implies that those committed to the nation's cause are like soldiers in a battle for its honor and freedom. This metaphor evokes a sense of duty, courage, and commitment. Respect India's honor suggests that maintaining the nation's dignity, integrity, and values is paramount. It implies acting in ways that uphold and enhance the country's reputation and moral standing. Describing this honor as a sacred trust adds a spiritual and moral dimension, indicating that it is a profound and solemn responsibility entrusted to them. It is no easy matter to decide what is right and what is not. So, Nehru acknowledges the complexity of moral and ethical decision making. He recognizes that determining the correct course of action can be challenging and is not always straightforward. And this line prepares Indira for the introduction of guiding principles to help navigate such dilemmas. One little test I shall ask you to apply whenever you are in doubt. So, Nehru proposes a simple yet effective test or guideline to use when faced with uncertainty about what is right or wrong. This test is intended to provide clarity and ensure that actions align with the values and honor of India. Although the specific test is not provided in the given passage, the introduction suggests it is a practical tool for ethical decision making. So, now let us see what is that task. Never do anything in secret or anything that you would wish to hide. For the desire to hide anything means that you are afraid, and fears is a bad thing and unworthy of you. Be brave, and all the rest follows. So, what is the suggestion from the side of Nehru? Never do anything in secret or anything that you would wish to hide. So, this statement emphasizes the importance of transparency and honesty in action. It suggests that one should connect themselves in a manner that they would be comfortable sharing openly with others. And the implication is that secretive behavior or actions that one feels compelled to conceal are likely to be unethical or morally questionable. For the desire to hide anything means that you are afraid and fear is a bad thing and unworthy of you. Here the passage connects the act of hiding things with fear, and it posits that inclination to hide actions or information stems from fear, which is portrayed as a negative trait. Fear in the context is depicted as something unworthy or beneath one's dignity. It suggests that acting out of fear compromises one's integrity and moral standing. Be brave, and all the rest follows. So, the passage concludes with a call to courage. It asserts that bravery is a fundamental virtue that, when embraced, leads to other positive qualities or actions. By advocating bravery, the passage encourages individuals to act with courage and integrity, thereby avoiding actions that might lead to fear or the desire to conceal. Next, you know that in our great freedom movement under Bapuji's leadership, there is no room for secrecy or hiding. We have nothing to hide. We are not afraid of what we do or what we say. We work in the sun and in the light. Here Nehru says that you know what in our great freedom movement under Bapuji's leadership, there is no room for secrecy or hiding. This statement asserts that within the freedom movement led by Mahatma Gandhi, referred to affectionately as Bapuji, transparency and openness are fundamental principles. It implies that secrecy or concealment of actions or intentions has no place in the movement's ethos, and this aligns with Gandhiji's philosophy of truth and non-violence, which emphasizes honesty and integrity in all endeavors. The mention of Mahatma Gandhi's leadership underscores his influence in promoting transparency within the freedom movement. Gandhiji's commitment to truth and non-violence meant that his followers were encouraged to be open and honest in all aspects of their struggles for independence. By stating that there is no room for secrecy or hiding, the passage asserts the movement's commitment to ethical conduct and accountability. We have nothing to hide. We are not afraid of what we do or what we say. So here the passage reinforces the commitment to transparency and fearlessness. It suggests that the member of the freedom movement operate with complete openness, and there is confidence in the righteousness of their actions and words, implying that they have no reason to conceal anything because they stand firmly by their principles. The assertion that we have nothing to hide and we are not afraid reflects a sense of moral courage and confidence among the movement's participants. It suggests that independents are unafraid of scrutiny or criticism because they believe in the righteousness of their cause. And this fearlessness is a core aspect of Gandhiji's teachings, encouraging individuals to act with conviction and integrity regardless of external pressure or threats. We work in the sun and in the light. This metaphorical expression further emphasizes the theme of openness and visibility. Working in the sun and in the light suggests that their activities are conducted in full view of everyone, symbolizing honesty, clarity, and public scrutiny. It contrasts with working in secrecy or darkness, reinforcing the idea that their actions are morally upright and justifiable. Next, even so in our private lives, let us make friends with the sun and work in the light and do nothing secretly. And if you do so, my dear, you will grow up a child of the light, unafraid and serene and unruffled whatever may happen. So, even so in our private lives, let us make friends with the sun and work in the light and do nothing secretly. So Nehru extends the principle of transparency and openness from the public sphere to personal or private life. Making friends with the sun metaphorically suggests embracing visibility and clarity. It implies living a life where actions are conducted openly and honestly without any hidden agendas or secrecy. The phrase work in the light reinforces the idea of conducting oneself with integrity and moral clarity. And if you do so, my dear, you will grow up a child of the light, unafraid and serene and unruffled, whatever may happen. So this line explains the benefits of living a life of transparency and openness. Being a child of the light symbolizes embodying qualities such as purity, honesty, and fearlessness. It suggests a state of inner peace and confidence regardless of external circumstances or challenges. This implies that living with integrity and openness brings emotional and spiritual resilience. The passage encourages individuals to apply the principles of transparency and openness not only in public actions but also in their personal lives. And this suggests that ethical behavior and integrity should permeate all aspects of one's existence, including private interactions and decisions. Making friends with sun and working in the light metaphorically represent a commitment to living honestly and openly without concealing thoughts, actions or intentions. The passage suggests that embracing transparency and openness leads to personal growth and inner strength. Being described as a child of the light signifies embodying moral purity and clarity. Unafraid, serene and unruffled indicates a sense of peace and emotional stability that comes from living authentically and without fear of exposure or judgment. And this state of being contrasts with the anxiety and insecurity that often accompanies secrecy or dishonesty, reinforcing the idea that ethical conduct brings personal fulfillment and resilience. Now, at the end of the letter, Nehru is saying that I have written a very long letter to you, and yet there is so much I would like to tell you. How can a letter contain it? Goodbye, little one, and may you grow up into a brave soldier in India's service. So, at the end of the letter, Nehru is saying that Nehru acknowledges the limitations of a written letter in fully expressing all the wish to communicate. And in this passage, he reflects a heartfelt farewell and a wish for India's growth and future contributions to India. Despite the length of the letter, there are still thoughts, emotions, or messages that remain unsaid and inadequately conveyed through written words alone. And this reflects the depth of Nehru's feelings and the complexity of his message. Goodbye, little one, and may you grow up into a brave soldier in India's service. So the passage concludes with a farewell and a heartfelt wish for the daughter's future. Little one conveys a sense of endearment and perhaps denotes the recipient's younger age or status, and the phrase brave soldier in India's service metaphorically expresses a hope that the recipient will mature into a courageous and committed individual who serves India's interests and causes, particularly in its struggles for freedom or service to the nation. Brave soldier symbolizes courage, dedication, and readiness to serve a great cause. India's service suggests a commitment to the nation's well-being, whether through civic engagement, social responsibility, or active participation in India's cultural, political, or economic development. At the end, Nehru writes, "With all my love and good wishes, your loving father, Jawaharlal Nehru." So, as it is a letter, as it is an informal or personal letter, you may see that the subscription, the name of the writer of this letter is at the right bottom of the letter. So, Nehru writes that with all my love and good wishes. This phrase conveys Nehru's profound affection and heartfelt wishes for the recipient, his daughter. Love signifies a deep emotional bond and caring, while good wishes expresses positive hopes and aspirations for the recipient's well-being and future endeavors. Your loving father, Jawaharlal Nehru. The signature, your loving father, indicates Nehru's role and relationship to the recipient, Indira, and it underscores his paternal affection and concern, reinforcing the personal nature of the message. By signing his full name, Jawaharlal Nehru, he affirms his identity and authority as a prominent figure, emphasizing his sincere connection to the recipient. So, in this third part, Pandit Nehru tells Indira about the importance of understanding and doing what is right, just like Gandhiji. He tells her that fighting for freedom was the right thing to do and that she should not fear being a part of the movement. So that's it about the letter, a birthday letter by Jawaharlal Nehru, which is written from Naini prison in 1930s to Jawaharlal Nehru's dearest daughter Indira, who later on became the first women Prime Minister of India. So that's all about the lesson. We will do the grammar and writing part in our next class. Thank you.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने